Hey, my name is Tony. Born and raised in New York City. My family's Dominican, so am I, first generation. We're here in Osaka, Japan with the Weiss crew. I'm riding a Weiss Hammer track titanium. This is my Weiss Hammer titanium trusty track bike. It has been with me everywhere. So the saddle is a Cell Italia 3D saddle. This tire, I'm meticulous, so I don't like having different tires, but I had to buy this here since Tokyo destroyed my rear tire with all the hills. It's not set up tubeless, but normally I have it set up tubeless. Ratios, I have a 17 and a 16 on the other side. I also have a 15 and a 14 in my bag at home here. I change ratio all the times, but 49-17 tends to be my most ridden gear ratio. This is a White Industry pedals. I had another pair that it just destroyed like a couple months ago, so this is my last remaining pair. They don't make them anymore, and I would be very sad if I destroyed this one too. Mashed plastic toe cages in a size large so I can wear sneaker boots, which is kind of my style. Toe sheet double straps, had these forever, glad they lasted. I don't think we've done the bike check in this color, but maybe we did, but I ended up drilling for a water cage here, which is very useful, such as long rides that I tend to do. We repainted it because of that, and you know, it's this fade to show off the titanium. We might repaint it soon in 2025 winter. Integrated seat posts, ISP, looks pretty. NV cockpit, size 40 centimeter bars, which is the smallest they make it. Flares out to 40 here. At the top is 35s, real fast era. NV arrow stem. I like that it has you can change the stem angle. Right now I have it set up as -12 degrees, which is nice and fast. Ready for alley cats and ready for crits at any given moment. Notice.
What brings you here with the Weiss crew? Why did Weiss come here?
Me and Logan came up with the idea of throwing an alley cat out here like in September, and that quick idea turned into fruition. We made it a reality, and it's always been my dream to come to Japan with my track bike. I feel like I've completed a pilgrimage by coming here. I would love to go back with an NJS frame, but maybe not this time, but I did find one I like, and I might get it shipped.
What were some of the events and accomplishments made during the trip?
So Weiss came here on a marketing trip, so we got a lot done. They hosted a bunch of pop-ups. There was 2 alley cats, one in Tokyo and one in Osaka. I didn't get to race the Osaka one because I just rode from Tokyo to Osaka in 28 hours and I didn't have the energy. But I did race the Tokyo one, which was my dream. I raced alone, you know, with the willpower of Google Maps. I ended up in 5th place out of 33 racers, I believe. Honestly, I'm glad I didn't win because then that means the riders out here don't go hard. So I'm glad I got 5th place and that the riders do go hard. The guy who won, Hayado, sorry if I butcher your name, that dude's a beast. He also ended up racing the crits at the bike lore event. And honestly, these are just my favorite kind of people, such as myself, is people who can get down on the streets and people who can get down on the racetrack, both sanctioned and unsanctioned racing. Like, I don't like these sanctioned snobs who think they're too cool or good for people because they don't race on the streets, or, you know, street racing is beneath them. But you know what? Street racing takes a lot of skills, and I just appreciate everyone who does it.
Everyone has seen the video updates of you deciding to ride to Osaka from Tokyo. Can you just describe the experience on the ride now that you've had a day to kind of digest?
Yeah, so today's the following day after I did it, and I slept pretty good, about 9 hours. Honestly, I thought I was gonna wake up in pain, but I feel stronger than ever. My legs feel amazing, my butts don't hurt. Oh, I guess some people wondering what bibs I use or whatever. I use ASOS bibs. They are my favorite bibs. This is not a sponsor. I paid full price, but they're my favorite bibs I've ever had. I use them on the DC ride. I use them here. It works perfectly. I did not have chamois butter because the bike shop I went to didn't have that. They had something called like this Body Glide deodorant thing. Didn't work that well, but it was better than nothing. I just feel amazing. That was such a beautiful ride. Japan is just such a wonderful country. It's funny that they call it the Cannonball because I am obsessed with the Cannonball race, the original one, which is a car race, illegal, from New York City to Los Angeles as fast as possible. And I've been obsessed with this for like the past 5 years. In fact, I too want to go for that one day. You know, it's going to take a lot of money and a big budget to go for. I'm not trying to break the record, but I would love to do an under 30 hours run. It's been my dream for like quite some years. So the fact that there is a Tokyo to Osaka Cannonball and vice versa, Osaka to Tokyo, on a bicycle just made me want to go for it. But the funny thing is, the first 100 miles of that yesterday felt like a real cannonball because I had to just keep playing avoiding cops. Because here riding without brakes is unsanctioned, and I didn't want it to thwart my run getting stopped by cops or they confiscate the bike. So first 100 miles felt like what a real cannonball would feel like, avoiding police officers and making sure that the run goes all the way to Osaka, baby, all the way to the Portofino Inn. You already know. If you know, you know.
Since you've been in Japan for the last 2 weeks, how would you say it differs from riding in New York City?
Well, so the difference is, by the way, I really love it here. It's probably the first place I think I can live at, besides Mexico City, but I'm not gonna be that dude who gentrifies it. Actually, I don't think I can be a gentrifier due to the color of my skin. Anyways, it's a really polite culture out here. It's not as aggressive as New York City. There is a slight passive aggression that the cars have here. For example, the way they pass you, they'll pass you super close and very fast. But you know, that don't startle me. Nothing scares me. Like yesterday, I just still hear the cars and the trucks passing me through that Tokyo Osaka run. I mean, it's super chill. I feel like people have just said this already, but you can run reds. If you break the law, people scorn you. But that doesn't really affect me mentally. I mean, you know, when I was in Tokyo, by the end of the week, I was riding a bit chiller than my usual self, just because you assimilate to the culture. But I like to think myself as a ninja.
Did you find it hard to kind of respect the traffic rules coming here, being from New York at first? Like when you got here, you saw me riding real mellow? I do find it difficult to respect the law because I just think there's limits. Like, yo, all right, here there's a bunch of cars coming to cut this. I would have to do an alley cat cut. Okay, you know, I can wait for that. But if there's like a normal side street and like there's no cars coming or it's really slow pace, like I'm running it because it's safe to do so, and I believe in the Idaho stop. And no, bicycles are not the same as cars. Like, it doesn't hurt as much to... Oh yeah, so I'm going on a tangent, but police stations, that's one thing you had to watch out for, and that was one thing I was watching out for in the Tokyo Osaka run, like a real cannonball. Have you had any issues riding without brakes in Japan? Because I guess
no issues, because I'm good at avoiding trouble, let's just say. But yeah, like in the descent of that big mountain at mile 60, I even showed Terry the only thing I filmed, but I stopped to take a picture of my bike with Mount Fuji in the background, and as that happened, a motorcycle cop passed by, meaning had I not stopped for that, the motorcycle cop would have stopped me and like potentially see if I had no brakes. Again, I don't know how they even enforce that, unless they're like actually know their laws. But you know, police officers, they need to know a lot of laws and what's legal and what's not legal. I feel like it's generally fine here to get away as long as you ride smart and with avoidance. Also, it's legal to ride here in the sidewalks. They should make that legal in New York City. I think it would enable a lot of regular casual people to pick up bikes because it feels safer when you're riding on the sidewalk. But you know, it's illegal in New York City, and thus you have to be with the cars, and cars over there are aggressive, I guess, and that's how people get hit by cars.
What's your meaning of life? What does it mean to you?
The meaning of life is beauty, love, philosophy, adrenaline, reading, intelligence, God for some people, eyes, sightseeing, hearing, the five senses, smell, traveling, even if it's outside of your house, within your own neighborhood, traversing, walking, doing push-ups.
Do you have any big bike trips? Do you have any like goals you want to hit for next year? Places you want to travel to?
So, you know, I'm sort of reaching, I don't want to say the end, but sort of reaching the need to do everything on my fixed gear bike. So next year I want to, honestly, I would love to get into some gnarly bike packing situations. Like one thing that comes to mind is like, I think Chaz rode across the Darien Gap with Lucas Brunel. I would love to do something like that. Like just crazy bike packing, like life survival situations. That's one thing. Thankfully I got that gravel bike now. What else? There is still some few places I want to go to on my track bike. South Africa being one of them. I don't know why, but I'm attracted to the idea of going to South Africa with my track bike. Another place I want to go with my track bike is Jamaica, because that is just one of the original, like I feel like fixed gear culture started because Jamaican bike messengers started riding them in the 80s in New York City, and it just took off and people started taking these track bikes and riding it on the street. So, such as Japan and Kieran racing, I felt like a pilgrimage to come here with my track bike. I feel like Jamaica is another place that will also be a pilgrimage where I need to go with the fixed gear and ride with no straps, you know, just like this, road Jamaican style. Also, yeah, so next year, I'm also gonna ride my road bike a lot more. I didn't get to ride it enough this year, still dialing down the fit, but next year I wanna race more on my road bike. Like I'm Cat 4, I wanna make it a Cat 2, like by next year. So that's a big goal of mine. And what other places? So South Africa I wanna go to with the track bike, Jamaica with the track bike. Where else haven't I gone that I wanna go to? There's really not any European places left. Ooh, Italy. But Italy I would wanna go with the road bike and climb some mountains.
What 3 things would you say to somebody to convince them to incorporate riding bikes into their life?
The 3 things is, number 1, most important, is getting around. That's why I started riding bikes. Well, no, I started riding bikes because of adrenaline. I actually started in the Dominican Republic because I lived there as a kid, 1st and 2nd grade. And my house was like at the bottom of this hill, so I made my mom get me a bike, like this mountain bike, and I would just go up and down this hill, and going down this hill and the sensation and the adrenaline that it gave me, it was just the most fun I've ever had. 3 things. So number 1 is commuting, number 2 is fun and adrenaline, and number 3 is like just the health benefits, honestly. Like I don't go to the gym, I just ride a bike, and it's made me pretty healthy and very fit. And it's just the best way to see a city. Like, I traveled so much, and never once have I not brought my bike. Only to one place, and that was Dallas. I don't know why. Oh yeah, because I was only there for 3 days.
Why do you think traveling is important?
I mean, humans, we've always been explorers since the dawn of age. we've always been nomadic. We've always moved around. This concept of, you know, having a roof over your head and just standing still, it's not really what humans are meant to do. You know, they got us like herds of sheep in a cage, but we're meant to be free, and traveling just enables freedom. And again, I understand that traveling isn't feasible for everyone, whether you don't have the time or the money, but there's always certain kind of travels you can do. Like, for example, I grew up mostly in the Bronx, and from an early age, my first travels was taking my skateboard and going to downtown Manhattan, and that just opened up my love for exploration. Or when I lived in the Dominican Republic, taking my bicycle and just traversing around in the little neighborhood. And I did that so much where I lived that when I went back 2 years ago, I drove a motorcycle this time, and I remembered all the streets, like the back of my head from my time riding as a child.
What are some of the reasons to travel with a bicycle?
People always ask this question, and they think it's really hard to travel with a bike, but you just buy a bike bag and you take your bike apart. And that's why I love the fixed gear specifically, because it's so simple to take it apart. You check it in as a check bag. It's not that pricey, and the amount of money I save when I get to places to get around is dramatic. Like, honestly, I don't know how people get around. Like, if you visit a place like Osaka, like, what, you take the train everywhere and walk? I don't know, like, I can be anywhere in the city as fast as possible. Basically, a bike enables me to waste no time in exploring.
How did you get into riding bicycles?
Yeah, I got into riding bicycles from the Dominican Republic, and it's because I wanted to bomb the hill in front of my house to feel the thrill of speed and wind going over my face and hair and eyes.
And then how did that evolve into you riding track bikes and then road bikes and gravel bikes?
Yeah, track bikes came when I was freshly 18, and I wanted a bike to get to college, which was in Harlem, and I lived in the Bronx, because taking the train would have involved me taking 2 trains, one to Manhattan, and then you transfer to get to the Harlem, and it would take like 40 to 60 minutes, whereas riding a bike would take a solid 30 to 40. So I started researching bikes, came across the MASH SF video from 2007 on YouTube. It looks just like a skateboard video, and at that time I used to skateboard, and the whole no brakes thing appealed to me, and yeah, I bought a fixed gear bike. Within the year, I raced Monster Track 2012, first alley cat, fell in love with the culture and the adrenaline. Kept racing alley cats, became one of the best racers, and yeah, naturally you just get into other bikes. Road bikes is obviously faster, and road racing is beautiful to me. Paris-Roubaix, Tour de France, it's a very romantic sport.
How long did it take you to, when you first started racing alley cats and crits, to start showing up close to the podium or on the lower steps of the podium?
Okay, so crits, first of all, I only started racing 2 years ago, which I started way later than I should have. So I've been riding track bikes for 14 years. I acquired my first road bike, I think 2019. Gravel bike was this year. And alley cats I started racing in 2012. And I think my first win came late 2013. But at that point, I have been racing every alley cat that New York City had to offer, which is a lot. Usually like one every 2 weeks or one every month. Then my first major win was the Track or Die Summer Alley Cat in 2014. And then I kind of had a low period where, you know, I kind of, whatever, trying to figure out life. So I haven't been winning as much. And I think I started winning again like 2019. It's kind of where I just like started dominating. But prior to that, I would always be in the podium. As for crits, yeah, I think I started racing them. I think I asked Weiss, like, yo, I want to be part of the Weiss factory racing team. And at that point, I haven't even really done a crit. So, I joined Weiss Factory, and then part of that meant that I had to start racing fixed gear crits. So then I started training with the Weiss laps we used to do, which were super fast laps around Prospect Park. And then, started getting fast within the end of the second year. I'm still not where I want to be. I've gotten faster and I can stay in the front group, but I still don't have what it takes to pull off a win. I won one crit in Brazil, and then this one in Japan, which was awesome because the guy who won was a pro keirin racer. I got third place. But the reason I got third place, despite having been in the front group the whole time, last lap when Hayato attacked, the keirin racer followed him, and I just couldn't keep up with the attack. Like, I don't have what it takes to sprint yet, so it's just something I have to work on. Terry suggested, go train with Roman, who's this super fast guy in New York City, and that's the exact thing I need to be doing. Just got to train more. But that's what I love about it, is seeing your progression occur in real time. And I still have a lot of work to do, which is very exciting.
Is there any correlation between living your life and working on something and getting better?
Is there any correlation with living your life and working on something and getting better? Yeah, isn't life progression every day you wake up? That's the answer. The answer is a question.
Some people on the internet, they don't know you in person, and your internet personality looks very full of themselves. How would you go about talking to those people?
Yeah.
Who think you're full of yourself?
Yeah, the internet is a strange place. I honestly wish it didn't exist, because if it didn't, I would just be a private person. I mean, you have to be, I don't want to say of low IQ, but you have to be not too smart to judge people off the internet, knowing that they're either showing off a version of themselves that seems better or worse, or they're curating something. Like, dude, you're never going to know anyone based on what you see on the internet. So, if you think I'm full of myself, I don't mind. I don't mind if you think whatever you think. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of thought. Do I think I'm full of myself? I think I love myself. I think it took a long time to reach that level. It took me at the age of 25. Wish I loved myself when I was younger. I would have been a rock star from the early ages. I don't think I'm cocky per se, but I do think I'm pretty awesome. But I think you're awesome too. I think confidence is key to living a successful and fulfilling life. I don't think there's a bad thing. If you think I'm full of myself, then I am what you think.
Well, I personally think you should love yourself and also believe in yourself, And I think maybe that's a fine line. And the first time I filmed with Toni at Monster Track, he was talking shit online, and I loved it. And because I knew that he was being serious, but I knew that he was also internet joking, and it was getting under people's skin. And I absolutely loved it. So
I have to talk about that for a second, because Alley Cats never took off the way I wanted it to. I feel like it could be a sport that could be huge. Sure, it's illegal and dangerous, but that is what makes it thrilling. So, I grew up watching WWF, and, they have the heel characters, they have the face characters. Face characters are good. Heel characters are the quote-unquote evil bad guys. They talk shit. It just makes the sports entertaining. Right now, I feel I don't think Alley Cats are at a low point, but they're not super high, and part of it is because people are in personalities. They're not being flamboyant. They're not acting per se. So that era in 2019, when I almost won Monster Track, but I got arrested, I was talking shit. Why? Because that year I was winning most of the Alley Cats. I wanted the game to be entertaining for people, and I want people to watch. I want spectators. And I think that was like the peak of Alley Cat era before it went back down again. Although I do blame COVID as well for just the way people turned out socially. And yeah, I mean, like now I don't have that much energy to be like, yeah, I'm the best, even though I kind of am. Just because like I am the energy of the people, and if you know the sport never really took off, then I can only put so much energy and effort into it. At this point, you know, want to inspire people to race, but I don't need to do my job and try to make it entertaining.
Do you think people are afraid to be themselves because they might hurt someone's feelings in today's day and age?
Yeah, I think cancel culture is a large attributor to that. You can even see it in such a place like Japan, where in Tokyo, no one really is themselves because they're afraid of being judged both socially and by their peers. You know, I think that's one difference between me. I am not afraid to be myself whatsoever. But I can't imagine if you lived in a place like Tokyo, where there is a social credit system, and being yourself legitimately affects how you make money and survive this world. Like, you know, I can come to Japan, Tokyo, make videos of me cutting red lights, and there's, you know, no large consequences. But if I lived here and I have a business, that sort of things actually affects you. So yeah, it's interesting. Fascism, I'm not quite sure, but oh yeah, they control the people. They're strict with the people. It's kind of militaristic. Makes for a good society though, very safe.
So we should wrap this up. It's been about 20, 30 minutes. Is there anything you want to say to the people watching?
Yeah, thank you for everyone who's always been a fan. On the internet, yeah, I've always get a bunch of hater comments, but in real life, it's been nothing but love. As a matter of fact, I never had a single person come up to me in real life and hate, which leads me to believe that the internet is a fake place. I appreciate y'all, and I keep riding bikes because of y'all and myself, and I really, really love what I do. And thank you, Terry, because he's doing the Lord's work right now, being one of the few and only bike directors that specifically is out here on the streets showing love to the street riders. There's not many people. They're afraid because it's not sponsor friendly, but my dude Terry, he's a real one. He does what we do, and like I really appreciate him for that, bro. Like, much love.
So we bring to a close the story of rigid control through the unceasing research and the highest quality.